Larry, better known as Savelle Larry. I want to tell you thank you for coming on weekly to our podcast, the You Going Pro podcast, the number one podcast in the world that helps athletes develop proficiency, assisting their passion for the game they love. Today's episode is episode 43. We'll be discussing baseball from the high school level in the deep down south and also going from D1 to an undrafted free agent and playing. Also, with that, we're going to be talking about the undrafted players playing in the minor league system. What is that like? And very own Kennard McDowell has started his career at Spartanburg Methodist, and that's a very good school, by the way. And he was redshirted his freshman season. He started as a freshman for the Pioneers, a team that reached the JUCO World Series in Grand Junction, Colorado. He hit 279 with 11 doubles, 4 triples. 2015 as a redshirt sophomore. He was a third team All CAA conference tournament selection. He also played 59 games for the Seahawks, 58 at bats. He finished the season with 289 average and tied his second team with 5 home runs, which that's pretty doggone good. 2016, he was a redshirt junior as he started all 60 games at a shortstop, built a career high of 7 home runs, and he had also 10 multi-games as well in a 30-game season, which is pretty doggone good. His also with 45 to 46 games, he started at shortstop. He built it 4 home runs, including a one against the Northeastern, the CAA tournament, and he was committed only 10 errors. That's pretty doggone. Also, his awards in 2016, he was an NCAA Columbia All Region team. 2015 he was a third team All CAA team as well. In 2015, he was a CAA All Tournament. With that, he's also in 2017 he had the opportunity to play with the Colorado Rockies, and this is very own Kennard McDowell Jr. How you doing, Kennard?
I'm doing fine, Seville. Good to see you. Good to see
I'm
you.
glad you're on, man. I appreciate it. I thank you very much for coming on. Hope I didn't
Oh
forget
yeah, no
any.
problem.
Hope I didn't forget anything. I think I had a whole lot of stuff coming on with your
No, man,
resume.
that was good, man. It was some of that stuff that you said I didn't even realize. I didn't even realize it.
It's been a while. I know. I'm quite sure, but it happens. But I just want to go ahead and start from the beginning, the genesis of everything. You started in South Carolina, which that's the deep South, which I love to say the deep South. That's where we all begin. Everything began back in the day. What was that like playing high school baseball in South Carolina? Because I'm from a different state.
So I grew up in a small town called Darlington, South Carolina. Population about 6,000 people.
Okay.
Two high schools. You got Darlington High School, and then you have Mayo High School. I went to Mayo. Mayo didn't have any sports teams,
Okay.
so I played for Darlington. Uh, Played junior varsity, played varsity in Darlington. Um, Real laid back. Uh, Not a whole lot of resources,
Okay.
uh, but we had a lot of talent. We had a lot of talent, just not a lot of resources, not a whole lot outside of the high school season.
Yeah.
Not a no hidden facilities.
Mm.
We had some cages like at a local rec field that me and some of my childhood friends would go and hit at. That's where we would get our working in the off season.
Oh, okay.
But travel ball, all that, we didn't have much.
Wow. Well, hey, you know what
Yeah.
it's like to start with nothing.
Oh yeah,
I mean, because at the end of the day, it sounds like you come from small beginnings, basically.
definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Because I mean,
Yeah,
I know.
I was the only person in my family to play baseball. So I mean,
Wow.
I
Okay.
didn't have I didn't have much, guidance besides like my rec coaches and high school coaches but as far as just growing up in a baseball family, I didn't come from a baseball family.
Yeah. Okay. I get it. I mean, because me coming from Chicago, I didn't come from a baseball family either. Most everybody played basketball. I'm 6'2". I'm a little bit taller now, 6'3", but my dad was 6'6". My dad was 6'6", and all he talked about was
Oh yeah,
basketball, basketball, And I'm the only left-hand
right.
person in the family, so that was pretty difficult for me. You know, throwing a baseball. He was trying to teach me how to throw right-handed, and I'm throwing left-handed. Taught me how to hit left-handed when I'm hit. It was a very so I can relate to your situation going in.
Right.
Going from coming from South Carolina, what was the culture like for baseball, if there was one?
So growing up playing, like, we called it Dixie Youth. It was a local rec league from T-ball all the way up until I think we called it Lions League, which was I think around the age of 13.
Okay.
We played on one side of town, and they also had Little League on the other side of town, which is the side of town that I grew up in. Uh, it was pretty uh, divided.
Okay.
If you get what I'm saying, you
Yeah.
had
Yeah.
one side of town was Little League, and the other side was Dixie Youth. And when I got around, I think maybe 10 or 11, I ended up playing on both sides of town. So it kind of opened my eyes up to everything around me, that
Right.
that
Right.
Dalton had to offer. But we were just a bunch of kids, man, playing ball, having fun. Everybody we played with, we knew them, because the town was so small. So it was just like a bunch of friends playing together. That's
Right.
all it was.
Mm. I like that. I mean, it sounds like that you have such gratitude of people. You don't
Yeah,
take things like some people they just take for granted. That I guess that self dictation, that self gratification. You appreciate the small things because you come from
oh
small
yeah,
beginnings. And I can respect men like that. And that's why I wanted to ask that question because I've been to South Carolina, which I told you before the show, and I
right.
like South Carolina. I just don't like the weather.
Yeah, yeah, it's a little iffy. It's a little iffy.
Yeah.
It's a
It's
little iffy.
I can't. I don't like the weather. To be honest, I don't like the weather. But I know there's a lot of good things about South Carolina. You're not too far from North Carolina. You're not too far from Georgia. But I just wanted to talk
Right.
about that because looking at your resume, I'm gonna go back to your resume, going back to your JUCO time at Spartanburg. I mean, I know Spartanburg Methodist was a very good school. Um,
Yeah.
let's talk about that. How did you get there from that small school you came from in high school?
So there was I think it was going into my senior year. Uh, it was like a camp. Spartanburg Methodist was having like a camp. Uh, I had a couple conversations with some other JUCOs, USC Sumter, and also I considered the Citadel. I had got an offer from the Citadel,
Okay.
uh, but not having a whole lot of money, they offered me a scholarship. And with
Right.
baseball,
They don't give
you
full.
rarely get 100% scholarship,
Correct.
but you have your academics that can kind of help you out.
Help you out. Right.
Uh, so I went to this camp in Spartanburg, and anyways, went through the camp and got offered. Uh, they had a deal where if you had a 3.0 in high school, you get a full ride.
Hmm.
All you would be responsible for is room and board. So went that route, and that's how I ended up at Spartanburg. Yeah,
Wow, that's good, man. Because you know what? That was like pre social media, before social media became social
yeah,
media.
yeah.
And but you know what? You can elaborate on this too, because it seems to me you come from the same cloth I come from. I know what we had to do as well. Similar, we went to camps, we went to tryouts, like
Hmm.
physical, real trial, not showcases,
Right.
tryouts.
Hmm.
Other words, you go there. It's similar to a showcase, but they're spending more individual time on you, looking at
Okay.
what you do, and say, okay, this is the guy. If we want him, we don't want him because I had to write letters.
Right.
We wrote letters. We called. It wasn't like this DM direct, and
Yeah. No.
I'm grateful for for what God has let happen. We can advance, but the key is you still have that intimate relationship. You can talk to the coach when you went to
Yeah.
Spartanburg. I mean, because I know Spartanburg was very good because I went to a JUCO called Hawassi Junior College, and most of the
Okay.
guys that came to Tennessee to play, they came from that area, and that's all they talked about.
Yeah.
That's all they talked about. Spartanburg, 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 Spartanburg. I'm like, what's in Spartanburg? And I realized that they have some great talent there. I want to talk about
Oh yeah.
your first year you went there, and I think it was your only year you went there. What was that like for you to transition coming from a small town going to there?
So my first year, when I got there, that's the year that I redshirted. Right.
Okay.
So I came in. The guy that was playing shortstop, Champ Rowland, uh, he was a third year guy at a JUCO. So that was
Wow.
his third year.
Wow.
Yeah, and so had to sit down with Tim Wallace, the head coach, and we just kind of had a conversation. He's like, you're
Right.
probably not gonna get that much playing time. I came in, I was way undeveloped. I was like
Oh, okay.
170 pounds,
Wow.
175 pounds. High school, we didn't have much of a weight program. It's kind of,
Right.
like I said,
It is what it
lack of
is.
resources. But decided to redshirt, and so I'm like, all right, what does this mean?
Right. Explain it.
I redshirt. Do I just sit in the dorm, go to class, or do I get to practice? What? Because I want to be involved. I'm like 3 hours away from home. I didn't come here just to go to school. I
Right.
came here to go to school and play
Play
baseball.
ball. Right.
So yeah, I played in the fall, practice, and then the springtime came, and that was time for me to go and take my red shirt. So I'm like, how can I stay a part of this team without playing in actual games?
Right.
So it was like one of the practices. I looked down. We had a bullpen like in right field, and pitching coach Matt Williams was down there and had some guys throwing bullpens. So me just joking around, I said, "Hey, let me get some catching gear." Never
Okay.
caught before. So I went down there and we had a guy. I can't remember who it was, but he had a nasty sinker, and it was just. So he gave me the gear, gave me a mitt, and I went down and caught some pins, and
Okay.
he liked it. So I was like, you know what? Let's see if I can just bullpen catch. That way I can stay around the team,
Right.
stay around baseball. So that's what I did my red shirt. Yeah, I was a bullpen catcher
Oh, that's
at
cool. But
Spunk
you
Business.
stay
Yeah, yeah,
connected. That's a. But
yeah,
most Kennard. Most kids are not like that. You know that, right?
oh yeah, oh
They're
yeah,
not gonna accept that role. They're gonna be like, no, I want to play. And
yeah.
from being a red shirt, explain to the audience what you've learned from that. What was your learning? What was your aha moment being a red shirt that first year?
Me, I was just grateful to be uh, still around baseball. Because you had guys. Once the high school season ends, your senior year, you got one or two options. Either you continue on, you go to a JUCO, you go to D1, you keep playing somehow,
Right.
or you go out into the real world, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was that person. Like, I got a chance. It might not be the chance, that I dreamed of, like going D1 or whatever the case may be, but I'm still around sports, and I know if I keep working, if I get stronger, get bigger, keep practicing, I'll get my chance, and my chance
Mm,
came. So
I like
I
that,
just
man.
stayed with it, man. I just stayed with it as long as I could. Yeah,
Man, I like your humbleness, brother, because what you just said was powerful within itself. If we stop this interview right now, it's just you've said enough because like I said, you've been around young boys now, you know the deal. They're not
yeah,
grateful. They 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 got these helicopter parents, helicopter coaches, and based on what you're just telling me, you're very humble. You're like, man, you better be thankful you got something. It's better than nothing.
yeah,
And that's how I was too. Growing up as well. I like your story. I like your humbleness, and looking at all your things that you accomplished in 2015, all tournament, 2015, 2016, all region, and I didn't even talk about high school. I don't even know what you did in high school, but we're just talking about the
right,
college level, and it's just such a appreciation to get someone on the show that can talk like this, because
yeah,
someone that actually played and understand that things are not given, they're earned. Because if they give it to you,
right,
eventually you're gonna lose it.
yeah.
You
If
know,
you don't if you don't keep working at it, yeah, yeah, it's gonna be a guy that's gonna pass you by, who had a lot less but just worked his butt off
and made it
and made it
happen.
happen.
Right.
Yeah, yeah,
And
that's right.
based on what you just said, which leads me to that next question. You talked about there was a shortstop ahead of you, a
Yeah,
3 year shortstop. It sounds to me you didn't get an attitude, you didn't get upset, you accepted the responsibility and the opportunity where you were at. And also, you're 3 hours away from home. You said it, 3 hours away from home, and you ain't going
yeah,
back home. It's like you're like,
right.
listen,
Yeah,
I'm
no, I
here.
wouldn't. I couldn't go back home. Yeah,
He's like, I got to make this
yeah, I
happen.
wouldn't go
So,
back home.
what did you? How did you, being a bullpen catcher for that red shirt? What are some of the things you learned about yourself?
To be honest, I didn't know if I could do it or not. I didn't know if I can go back there and catch a bullpen. You got guys because we had some really good guys on the pitching staff. Threw hard, threw a lot of. They had a lot of stuff. And I never caught before. I was like, well, I got to do something to stay with the team. I got to
Right.
make myself valuable somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't want to just be that guy that, oh yeah, I redshirted. Now I'm just going to class and coming back to my dorm while the
Right.
guys going off and playing and being around the game. So I just gave it a shot. And I,
Mm-hmm.
I think one thing I learned from that is uh, sometimes you don't know what you're capable of doing until you actually go out there and doing it. Sometimes you might think, oh, I can't do this, but you'll never know if you don't try, you know.
Mm.
And I think the way I would just set up is I got to do whatever it takes to be around baseball because that's that was my passion,
Right, man.
and
I know,
I had to
man.
be around it.
Man, can our that's powerful, man. I mean, that's just I'm in awe of your words. I mean, for a young man of your age, coming from the small beginnings, coming from South Carolina, like you said in the beginning of the show, you talked about we didn't have a lot, and you're like, well, I'm gonna make the best of this situation, no matter what the situation is, and God has really blessed you because besides that, hopefully the people that are listening to the show hope you understand that just because it's not what you want doesn't mean it's not what God's plan for you is. Because a lot of times we
Oh,
try to
definitely.
we try to manufacture our own vision,
Oh yeah,
and we mess it up.
got that right. It doesn't always work that way.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because
It
now
doesn't
I'm looking
always
at
work that way.
the 2015. Okay, let's jump onto this. You go to University of North Carolina, Wilmington. Is that correct?
Wilmington, yep. hmm
And how did that come about? Coming from your JUCO, going over there. What took place? Did you try out? Did they call you? What was that about?
Well, so I got offered a scholarship to go to Wilmington. So the pitching coach that was at Spartanburg Methodist, Matt Williams,
Okay,
he my last year he ended up going to Wilmington.
okay,
So that year that I played at Spartanburg, that we went to the JUCO World Series, I think we were playing in Burlington, North Carolina. It was maybe like a district championship game or something like that.
okay,
So Mark Scaff, which was the head coach at Wilmington at the time, uh, they came in and watched that game and seen me play.
okay.
And after that game, uh, I
Yeah.
got offered a scholarship to go to Wilmington.
See, but it's another learning moment right there. Aha moment. You never know who's watching you, right? You,
You never know.
I mean,
Yep, and you never know the people that you come in contact with, how they can help you later on down the road. Because I don't think personally, if it wasn't for Matt Williams, the pitching coach, going to Wilmington, say, hey, I don't know what he said, but he might have said, hey, we got a shortstop guy that's Spartanburg, Methodist. You might want to go check him out.
hmm
I don't know how it went, but that's just
right,
how things can happen, and
right.
you just never know, who you run into and how they can help you later on down the road. So
I like that, man, because I try to tell my players that I coach here, because I coach travel ball, which I call it pay to play, travel ball,
hmm
and I also coach high school ball here in
it's a
South
different
Florida.
league now. Yeah,
Oh man, it's totally different from what me and you went through. Totally different.
yeah,
But when we played, we had to earn what we get. You're not going to
hmm
play just because you're dead paid X amount of dollars. You're gonna earn it. But you
yeah.
said something else that I don't want to miss it. You talked about the Junior College World Series.
Uh-huh.
Let's talk about that before I go to NCW,
Yeah, let's
because
take it back. Let's
because
take
I
it
never
back.
because I never experienced that. Me playing JUCO ball, I went to two JUCOs, and we didn't make it that far. But
hmm
what was that experience like playing JUCO in the World Series?
Man, it was amazing. It was amazing. And before we go there, I want to go
Go
back to
ahead.
high school because
Go ahead.
I didn't want to skip over this. So instead of travel ball, I played. I don't know if you ever heard of Legion ball.
Yes.
Yeah, so I played Legion ball for Florence, which is like the next city over. Florence Post One,
Hmm.
and we actually went to the American Legion World Series. I think that was in 2012.
Okay.
So that was the first World Series I ever went to.
Oh.
And then after high school, went to Spartanburg Methodist and Grand Junction, the JUCO for the JUCO World Series. That was
Hmm.
the next one.
Right.
So that was my second one.
Oh.
But it
Okay.
was it was amazing because like that whole town of Grand Junction, like they just embraced all the teams. They embraced everybody, and
Mm.
that was like besides the American Legion World Series, that was like my first uh like packed stadium playing in front of
How many
had like
people was
twelve
it?
thousand people,
12?
like 12,000 people like at the championship
JUCO
game.
at a
So
JUCO.
JUCO, yeah, at the JUCO,
Wow.
yeah, it was amazing.
I don't know if I would have froze or not.
Yeah,
That many people. I don't know.
yeah, it was amazing. I mean, everybody was so friendly, so nice, and you get these little gifts and stuff
Yeah.
like that. It was
Yeah.
it was a good experience.
Man, I mean, because I've never had anyone on the show that had a JUCO World Series, but I have someone that had an NAI World Series, and
Okay,
I always wanted to know what was it like because I never had a chance to play JUCO World Series. I played JUCO
right.
baseball, but I never had that experience because our team never advanced. You're the very
Hmm.
first person I ever talked to ever on the air and
Right.
off the air. I never knew anybody that played at that because I knew it was like the pinnacle of JUCO. That's just you want
Hmm.
to. That's the mecca. You want to get there, and
Oh
I
yeah,
know it was
you
in
want to get to
Colorado.
Grand Junction.
And I was like, man, what is that like? I mean, how many teams was it, and who did you guys play against? Can you recall anything?
So I can't recall how many teams it was, but I remember we played against Blinn College.
That's in Texas, right?
Blinn is in Texas. Yep, we played Blinn, and then Miami Dade.
Oh, that's
We
here.
played Miami Dade. Yep, those guys were good. And then what was the other team? It was another team. They were like a powerhouse.
Okay.
I can't remember, but they won it. They won it a couple years in a row, and they won it
Okay.
that year.
Okay.
But it was some talent. Like,
Really?
and the misconception. I know back then the misconception about JUCO was just like,
Yeah.
you just go there if either you got bad grades and you can't get into
Right.
D1, or
Right.
you're just not good enough to
Right.
to
That's
play a
right.
D1.
That's right.
Man, we had some talent.
Right.
We had talent, and then once you got to the Grand Junction, it was even more talent.
Mm.
And even in our region, Cedric Mullins that plays for the Orioles, he played JUCO. We played against him,
Oh,
and
Cedric Mullins. Okay.
yep, yep, yep. He played for was it Walter State?
Yeah, Walter State's in
Yeah, Walter
Tennessee.
State.
It's in
I think it
Tennessee.
was Walter
Walter
State,
State's in
but
Tennessee because I played in Hawassi and they're in the same conference of Walter State.
yep, yep. And then he went to Campbell, and we played against him at Wilmington. He was at
Okay.
Campbell. So
Okay.
I mean, JUCO, man, it's talent. I know it
Yeah.
was back then. I don't know
Yeah.
how it is now,
It
but
still is. It still is
yeah,
because I mean I'm actually close to Miami Dade JUCO here,
yeah,
and them boys can play, and
yeah, yeah. Them boys are good.
them boys can play.
Oh yeah,
There's no misperception about junior college, which you heard it from a very own Kennard McDowell Jr. He's played in Junior College World Series, so people says, "Well, I don't know JUCO." I'm like,
yeah,
what's wrong with JUCO? And I want you to say this. I'm not gonna say. I'm gonna ask you this question. It's not even on the paper. I'm
yeah.
gonna ask you this question. Did it make it easier for you going to that 4 year after you went to JUCO because of your grades? Yes or no?
For grades wise,
Right. Like, other words,
uh,
JUCO, did it prepare you to get some of the classes out the way before you went to your 4 year?
yeah, yeah, yeah. It did. I always that was one thing I was like my grandmother. She instilled in me like grades, like take care of your grades because that helped me get full rides. I didn't have to take out any student loan.
Wow.
I never got a full ride. I never got a full ride just for baseball. It was always you get some baseball money and then you get academic money.
Academic, man.
So I'm grateful for that because I was able to kind of skip the
Yeah.
student loan part and stay on top of my grades. So,
Man,
but
that's a
the
blessing, brother. That's a blessing.
JUCO did help me. Uh, I guess I would say mature a little bit. It
Hmm.
helped me not only physically, my body, but also a little bit mentally.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I don't think coming from a small school like that, if I were to go to a big school like South Carolina or a big D1 school, it probably would have been a little tougher for me,
Right, right,
to be
right.
honest.
And that's good. I mean, I think that God put you in the right place at the right time. I believe that. I mean,
Yeah, oh, yeah,
just hearing your story overall. I mean, looking at your DM, looking at your Instagram, looking at everything on there, is just you just a down to earth guy. Just look down to
yeah,
earth. Yeah, that's one reason why I wanted you to get on here. So, because people need to hear other people's stories. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day,
right.
we can learn from each other. Bottom line, we can learn from each
That's
other.
right.
And I mean, you're teaching me some things about this Junior College World Series. I want to get into that more and more because
Yeah,
I always wanted to get there. I mean, it's just one of those things. It's just okay. I went to JUCO. I played JUCO ball. First year was pretty bad. Second year was like I thought I was the best thing in the world, but we never got
right.
to that level because I'm like, man, these guys can actually play JUCO. Because, like you said, the misperception of JUCO ball is you got bad grades, you weren't smart enough,
Yeah,
or you just ain't good enough to play D1, which that's totally a
right.
misperception, and that's so far from the truth, especially when it comes to baseball
Yeah,
players, because baseball
yeah,
players is like it's loaded. And also now
yeah.
they're changing the rules in NCAA as of this year. If you're a JUCO going to a 4 year, you don't lose your eligibility. So basically, you're a sophomore all over
Uh,
again.
okay, yeah, I heard somebody tell me that the other day. We were talking about
Yeah,
that's
that's
wild.
crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's wild.
That's
That's
crazy.
wild.
But then it makes it harder for those high school players coming in. So the high school
Yeah,
players is going to be behind the eight ball. They're going to be behind because how you going to play before JUCO?
right.
Unless you're a phenomenal Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant on the baseball field.
Yeah. It's I guess because it's hard. You get that experience from playing JUCO ball. I guess some of these high schools they might have a little more competition,
Right.
a
Right.
higher level competition, or
Correct.
with the travel ball being able to go different places and play against these top prospect guys. So they're getting to see that high
Right.
level of competition.
Fishing. Yeah.
But it's still hard to beat experience when it comes to playing collegiate baseball.
Yeah, it is. Experience is better than everything, because like you said before, you know, dealing with kids that my exit velo is 99, my exit velo
Yeah,
is 98, and I'm like, well, that means nothing. Can you perform? The question is, can you perform?
right.
Let's go to a JUCO World Series in front of 12,000 people. And let me put a bat in front of your hand, and the bases are loaded, and it's 2 outs. Let me see you perform. Am I right?
Right,
Am I
right.
right?
That's
Because
right. They're gonna put the pressure on you. They're
because
gonna
the
put that
pressure, hey,
pressure
we
on
gonna
you.
see what you made of once you get to that situation. Now we got
Yeah,
to go to
definitely.
now we go to North Carolina Wilmington because that's another good school
That's
of
good.
baseball products.
Oh yeah,
All these different guys that can play. I mean, your very first year, you hit the road running. I mean, the first year you were on all third team, all American, all tournament team. What are you doing, man? Tell me what's up. What you
I,
doing?
I don't know, man. I think just getting in there, getting comfortable, kind of learning myself, and
Okay.
uh, just going there and having fun, man. And Mark Scaff was our head coach. Randy Hood was assistant at the time, which
Okay.
is he's now the head coach at Wilmington.
Okay.
They just made it. They just welcomed me with open arms. Made me feel welcome, and that in itself helps you perform better. And it helped me perform better at the time, because I was comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And man, we had some great guys on that team, and we tore it up. We got
Man,
to LSU that year, and we got beat by LSU twice. But besides that,
that's
man,
great.
a good team.
A
Yeah, we
great
had a good team.
accomplishment, brother. I mean, I'm thinking about you, thinking about the younger Kennard. I'm thinking about you coming from a small school, right? Small town, didn't have very much. Goes to a JUCO, busts his butt. He also was a bullpen pitcher. I'm sorry, bullpen catcher his first year,
Yeah,
dealing with
yeah,
humbleness, and you're a catcher. I mean, a shortstop, and then you go
yeah.
there and you just, I mean, I believe God's hand has always been on you. He just blessed you with such great
Oh yeah,
skills, but also the mental capacity to be able to deal with adversity. You know, because a lot of
yeah.
kids cannot deal with adversity, man. I mean, you go in there. I don't. I think you hit 278 to 279 your very first year. Am I correct?
Uh,
I mean, something like that
yeah,
to that degree.
I ain't sure what it is.
But still, I mean, that's almost 300 your very first year coming out of JUCO. And I'm thinking about, okay, how was that first year coming from JUCO to play that first year? Can you recall
Uh,
if you can remember back that far?
as far as just like what the competition level,
Yeah,
or are
competition
you
level,
talking about just like the atmosphere?
competition level. That
Competition level.
coming from that JUCO, going there their first year. How was your transition going into the field coming from a JUCO? And also remember, you coming from a high school was a pretty small school.
Yeah, so I think coming from Spartanburg Methodist, we were in Region 10. So
Okay,
that whole region, it was high level competition on the JUCO level. And then once I got to Wilmington, I think it transitioned pretty well because you go into the fall season, you're doing inter squads and scrimmaging. I think the only difference is you have a little bit higher quality arms more often, uh,
oh, okay,
if that makes sense.
yeah, it makes a lot
Uh,
of sense.
but yeah, for me, it wasn't a big transition because I kind of got a taste of it at Spartanburg with as far as the weight lifting programs and stuff. And once I got to Wilmington, man, them guys were crushing it. Me and my old roommate from Spartanburg, Zach Shields,
Okay,
he's from Florence, and we went to Spartanburg together, and we also went to Wilmington together.
okay,
We went to the first weight training session, weightlifting uh, routine or whatever.
okay.
And man, them guys in there crushing it. I said, oh boy. I said, what we got ourselves into? And me and him looking at each other. These guys throwing up weight. We like, oh boy, you boy serious.
Yeah.
So now we know, like, okay, in order for us to keep up, we got to go hard in the weight room. Because before it's kind of just like kind of going through the motions in the weight
Motions.
room.
Yeah.
But when we got to Wilmington, it wasn't no going through the motion. Them boys was getting after it. And I think that was the biggest shock for me, to be honest.
I
I said,
love
all right,
it.
I
I
got to
can
put
see.
on some pounds, man. The boys start telling me about different protein, the protein,
Right.
the whey protein, and
Yeah.
start drinking shakes and stuff. I never done that before.
Right. Right. Right.
I
Right.
start trying to put on weight.
Yeah. I understand because I
That was the
was.
biggest shock.
I mean, I understand totally with you as well. I mean, because I was the same way. I was like, what's going on with this, man? They were talking about steroids, and I mean, back when I was talking about steroids, like steroids.
Right.
Dude? What is that? And it's like, I'm like,
Yeah,
man,
yeah.
I'm not sticking no needle on me, man. You crazy?
I ain't never got
Like,
to worry about
I ain't doing
that.
that. I said, listen, if I
Yeah,
can't
no.
get it working out, I ain't getting it, because that's just
Oh yeah.
that's just me. I mean, I'm an old school guy. Like, listen, my grandmother taught me right. Like my mom, like, no, I ain't doing that. But it's interesting you said that because I can see you now going there like, man, what's going on? These guys are straight
Yeah,
up.
'cause like I said, when I left Spartanburg, I probably was maybe 180,
Okay.
190. I went in at like 175, and I left Spartanburg. I probably still like 185.
Yeah.
That's real. I was tall, slim, not much on me. But
Right. Right.
once I got there, man, and they had we had a strength and conditioning coach, Pat Murphy. He's at NC State now.
Okay.
Basketball strength and conditioning. But the programs that he had and how serious everybody took it, it made you buy in. Because you didn't want to be that guy slacking.
Yeah.
Because if
You get
you were
exposed.
slacking,
You get
he's gonna make the
exposed.
whole team. Yeah, oh yeah, the whole team gonna run forward. Now everybody on you. So I wasn't gonna be that guy. So you
I
had
hear
no
you.
choice but to work hard.
I
Yeah.
got you. I like that. I like that. I like that. I like your story, and you got quite a bit of a story. I mean, then you come out, you playing shortstop. Let's go to that junior year. So you go to your junior year. I think that's where you turned it on a little bit more. You turned it up a little bit more. You becoming more of yourself, of who you
Right.
really are. And I was like, okay, so his next year he becomes all region, NCAA, Columbia, and then on top of that, you guys go to the all region and you got play. I mean, how was your junior year compared to your sophomore year, if you can go back that far?
So my junior year, it still was. I still was learning. I still was trying to figure myself out, figure my swing out, just figure out how to play the game consistently,
Okay.
the right way. As far as like my whole thing was being consistent. I was trying so hard to be consistent, but I didn't have the fundamentals at the time to understand how to be consistent.
Correct. Correct.
So I was still
Growing.
trying to, yeah, still growing,
Yeah,
basically,
you're
still trying
still
to
growing. Yeah.
learn how to hit, learn all these things on the fly, and I had some good guys in my corner, helping me out. So
Yeah. Yeah. I
still
like
was
that.
a growing process, but
You
we still
said,
competing at the same time, still
right.
trying to find a way to win. Yeah.
Right, and I like what you said. The key word was consistent. Being consistent. I mean, there's a difference between high school players, college players, and pro players. They're all playing the
Hmm.
same game, but the ones that
Yep.
are at the top can be consistent the longest and
Yep.
and succeed. And people think, well,
Hmm.
I'm good. Yeah, you're good, but how consistent are you? That's the
Oh
key.
yeah.
Because I mean, speaking to, and also going through my baseball life as well, tap into a few other things in the indie ball tryouts, the whole 9 yards. I notice as I talk to other guys that are coaching in the MLB and are part of the association of any ML organization, the key word they always said, Kennard, was consistency.
Yeah. You gotta be
Consistency.
consistent.
People says, well, they think the showcase is going to get them to the show. I'm like, come on, man. What are we talking about? That's not it.
Right.
But the consistency has got you to where you are. Jumping into going from junior year to senior year. So that senior year is your final year. I
Yeah.
know you're like, wow, this is. So when did the opportunity come? Was you thinking in your head you can probably play at the next level? We're going into your senior year. What was the young Kennard thinking about at that time?
So, uh, the draft my junior year.
Okay, go
Uh,
ahead.
my roommate from Spartanburg that went to Wilmington, he got drafted in the 10th round by the Reds.
Okay.
So I got a phone call. Uh, it was the day before the draft
Okay.
from the Brewers,
Okay.
and it said that they were going to pick me. I think it was the 13th round, and told me, for this amount, and I'm excited. Yeah, okay, didn't have an advisor at the time, and so the first day of the draft comes, and back then, I guess the way the draft worked, it was on the first day you got rounds. What was it, 1 through 10?
Yeah. Right.
Uh, the ones that come up on TV, and then
Right.
after that, it starts showing up on the ticker, right? So that whole day, I'm just sitting there watching the screen. Day two goes by. This is the day, well, rounds, I guess, what, 11 through
11
whatever.
through 20, something like that.
Yeah. So 13th round pops up. Got a phone call from the Brewers. Hey, we're gonna pick you. Ticker comes across the screen. Milwaukee Brewers select. I remember it to this day. Jose Quace. They drafted him as a shortstop. I think he just made it to the big leagues not too long ago with the
What's his name?
Royals as a pitcher.
What's his name?
Jose Quace
Jose
played for
Quace.
Maryland. Yep. Uh, I think that's how you pronounce his last name.
Okay.
But I remember that, man, and I was crushed, because I was excited. I was ready for this opportunity. They called me back, said, "Yeah, man, sorry, we couldn't get you in the 13th round, but we're gonna try to pick you in the 15th round, 14th or 15th, something like that."
Okay.
And didn't hear anything else from them. So after that, I'm just like, sat there in front of the TV. Rest of the next day, day three of the draft goes by. Didn't hear my name, so I'm just like,
Okay.
that's it, you know. So I'm already crushed. Don't know what to do. I said, I guess I'll go back to Wilmington for my senior year,
Right.
and
Right. Right.
and try to prove them wrong, or
Right.
try to go the extra mile to stand out, and
Right.
that's kind of how I went into my senior year.
Okay.
Yep.
I like that, but it kind of worked out again. And as I was thinking what you just said, I was thinking about the scriptures. The scripture in Romans 8:28 said, "All things work together for the good to those who love God or called to His purpose." And that's exactly what God did. He let that happen because your senior year, you go in. So basically, you got a chip on your shoulder. You can't tell me you didn't. We all. I mean, I would have had a chip on
Yeah,
my shoulder.
yeah,
You had a chip on it, and it's a
yeah,
good thing.
definitely,
It's
definitely.
a good thing. It's a good thing because it's gonna make you a better person, a better man on and off the field. You get into that. You go into
Yeah.
that fall season in your senior year. What was you thinking about?
I mean, I was just trying to go hard. I was trying to just stand out. I was just trying to prove myself, and prove that I'm worth uh, somebody taking a chance on to go to play at the next level.
Right. Right.
And I guess for me, it was more of it was do or die. Because at the high school, yeah, you can go play JUCO ball. If you
Right.
don't get a D1 scholarship, or you can find somewhere to play. But now it's either all right, either you sign to play pro ball, or you go out to the real world. Like, this is your
Right.
last chance.
Right. Right.
And at the time, I didn't really know about indie ball. I didn't kind of know all the different little avenues that you could take.
Right.
But my mindset was just do or die. You got to find a way to make it happen.
That's right. That's right. And you did. I mean, your senior year seemed like you had a very good season based on your numbers over here. Looking at that, you tore it up. From your small beginnings, it seems like you hit. I mean, you started 45 games, and you had 4 home runs. It seemed like you had the game winning home run, pretty much like a walk off. You only committed like 10 errors. I mean, talking 45, 50 games. That's pretty doggone good, I think. I mean, coming from the small beginnings where you coming from a JUCO, I think that's pretty remarkable. I mean, hats out to you. I mean, doing what you did based on your circumstances, based on everything you have. I mean, you didn't have the best beginning, but it's not how you start; it's how you finish. Which that led me to that. Going into that senior season, you walk off the field. You guys played against some good competition, LSU, all these other big time schools. You played JUCO ball, whole 9 yards. So you've been through quite a bit. My question
Right.
is, that senior year, your last game, what was going on through your mind? Because now it's either do or die. what am I going to do next, or am I going to try to get drafted, or what's going to happen? What? Tell me what went through your head at that present moment.
Yeah, I didn't know. I had no idea. I think we ended up losing in the conference tournament.
Okay.
I believe we lost to Delaware,
Okay.
and we didn't have a year that. I mean, we had a decent year, but it wasn't a year that we would get the automatic bid.
Okay.
Uh, so either you win the conference tournament and you know that's your ticket to the regionals, or you get a bid
Right.
and based off your RPI and all that kind of stuff. I
Correct.
believe you know.
Correct.
So we ended up not getting a bid, and that was it. You know, a day came where we had to go unpack our lockers, put everything in the bag, take your name tag down, put it in the bag, and that was it. You know,
Okay.
so and now you don't know what's next
Right.
because you got the draft coming up in I think what was it July,
Yeah.
June?
It was June then. They changed it to
Yeah,
July. So
so now it's July.
did you get a phone call again, or what was your approach to get that info at that time?
So I didn't get a phone call that year,
Okay.
right? And I didn't have much interaction my senior year, and the assistant coach Randy Hood, uh, he's the head coach now at Wilmington. I was
Okay.
walking out of the locker room, you know, with all my bags and stuff, and I didn't know what was next. And I told him, I said, this can't be it. You know, I said, I got to keep playing. I got to keep playing. And went home, and I found it was some kind of tryout in Florida,
Okay.
down in Tampa, maybe St. Pete, somewhere around there, some
Okay.
kind of tryout for it.
Okay.
It was like a showcase. They said they had pro scouts there, blah blah blah. So I gave it a shot because that was it. You know, college was over, didn't get drafted, so I went down to that showcase and ended up getting a contract for an indie ball team in Canada,
Mm.
and I didn't have a passport,
Okay.
so I got my passport expedited, got all the paperwork filled out. The team sent over the contract. Me and my now wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, we were sitting in the bed watching TV, and I got a phone call. It's probably had to be like 10 o'clock at night, maybe
Okay.
9, 10 o'clock. It was Jay Matthews from the Colorado Rockies, and that right there called me. He said, "Hey McDowell," he said, "I can't make you any promises, but in the next couple of days you might get a phone call. Do you still want to play?" I said, "Yeah, I want to play." And I said, "Well, I didn't mention the thing, you know, the contract with the indie ball thing." I
Right.
said, "Yeah, I still want to play." He said, "Well, don't get your hopes up, but you might get a call." As soon as I hung up the phone with him, I got a call from Jesse Stinnett. He was the like the travel guy for the Rockies. Like, make sure all your flights and stuff is good. He said, "When can you leave out?" He said, "Can you leave out tomorrow?" I think. And I had to drive to Charlotte. Caught a flight from Charlotte, and that was my journey to pro ball. I flew into Grand Junction, Colorado,
Okay.
which is the same place that I played the JUCO World
JUCO.
Series at,
Hmm.
and started my minor league career there.
Wow. So it was an undrafted.
That's how it worked.
You just undrafted.
And
Just
this
said
was a couple months after the draft too, if I'm
really.
not mistaken. So you know, I kind of was like, I was getting to that point where it's like, all right, all hope is gone. You know, we're just gonna go play indie ball. We're gonna play a little while till I get it out my system,
Correct.
and then
Correct.
that's it. And then I got that phone call that night, and it was like I said, I was about to go to Canada to play indie ball, and got that phone call.
Wow. Man, it's like you said before, and we talked
It's
about this
wild.
earlier. Yeah, it's like you never know who's watching you. I always
Yep.
tell people. I always tell. I mean, even outside of baseball and life in general, you just never know who's watching you. Someone could be. I mean, God put you in a certain place for a certain situation. For you, you don't have to know what the reason is, but He knows your
Yeah.
future. I mean, God knows all things. You know, if you just trust and believe. You know, I
Oh
mean,
yeah, that was
I'm
all
just
God. It
man.
was all God.
That's all God. Because I'm sitting there thinking, man, you're sitting down, minding your own business, thinking, okay, what's next? I'm gonna go ahead and go
Yeah.
play to here. Then you get a phone call, and then you got to make a decision, like right there. There ain't
Yeah,
no.
but it was easy. It was easy. You know, like, there's no hesitation. Do you still want to play? Yes. I don't know how I'm gonna to Charlotte to catch a flight by tomorrow. I don't know how I'm
Right.
gonna get my bags packed, but we'll worry about that later.
Right.
Like when
Right.
I get
Right.
off the phone, we'll figure that
Figure it
out,
out.
But
Right. 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 Yeah.
that's kind of how it was, man. I was just excited. I read,
Yeah.
first I was shocked. I couldn't believe it,
Mm.
and because it had been so late after the draft, all that stuff kind of wind down, and it caught me off guard. But like I said, I was still training, still working out, still hitting a little bit,
Okay.
so I still was in shape. I still was ready to go play.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I like
yeah,
that, man.
that's it.
I like your story. I mean, that's a that's a real story because if you think about it, you get a phone call. You like, I'm like, you're thinking, you scratching your head like, wait a minute. It's after the draft. He calls me. First of all, how you get my phone number? First of all, how do you get my phone number? Which we can talk about that later. But he got my phone
Yeah,
number. And when did you? I'm thinking to myself, when did you see me? When did you see? You start thinking about all these things go through your head.
yeah.
Like, wow. But
So
anyway,
I talked to a Rocky scout during the season before
okay,
Jordan Zarnicki. So I talked with him, and back then they used to send out the questionnaires with
right,
you fill out the questionnaires and take all these tests and stuff. But so I'm assuming that's I was on the radar, but didn't get
okay.
drafted, But so they,
I
they
got
kind of knew who I was, and
I got you.
yeah,
Okay, that's good. I mean, that kind of helps the listeners understand where you are. You know what I'm
right,
saying? Because if you just say, well, you know, I'm Kennard McDowell Jr. and they want to know more of the story. So basically, the bottom
yeah,
line is, I'm summing it up. They knew about you because there was some interest at some time during your college career. You spoke
right,
to someone. There was some information you filled out, and bottom line is they kept their eyes on you. You just didn't know it.
yeah,
I mean,
right. Yeah,
apparently they're not gonna just pick you up for nothing just to pick you. Did they pay for the flight?
yeah,
You
yeah, 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 yeah. All that, yeah, 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 yeah. I
That's
didn't
good.
pay
And
for
so
that.
that was pretty
Yeah,
good, man.
yeah, because the way it worked back then, you got all the MLB teams, and they would come, to the games, and they'll be in contact with your coaches and all that kind of stuff. And your coaches, if they have good contacts, and
Right.
they kind of trust them. The scouts
Correct.
trust your coaches,
Right. Right.
uh,
Right.
and your coaches not gonna lie to the scouts either.
Mm-mm.
So whenever you go on about your business, and
Yeah.
if you're not going about it the right way, your coach is not gonna lie,
Oh no.
to the scout, because that's gonna make your coach look bad,
Oh yeah. And he ain't gonna come
So
around no more.
oh yeah, that's right. But these teams, they send out these questionnaires to the players that they have some interest in. You fill out the information, and that's how they get it.
I got you. I got you. I like it. That's good information. Very very good information. So you go to the Colorado Rockies as a free agent, and a guy from South Carolina. My question to you is this: We're not even going to get into the. We're not going to get into the financial part. We're just going to get into the journey. Your very first day. What was that like in the minor leagues? Undrafted.
So my first day, it was they had it. So the season already started.
Okay.
They had a home game, and it was a night game, and they brought me in, took me straight to the ball field. I sat my bags down, and I kind of just toured the clubhouse, and kind of went over some things, paperwork, and getting all my uniforms, and getting everything situated. So I was sitting in the locker room after the game, all the guys walking in, and I'm seeing all these different people, all these different people. Then all of a sudden, I see a familiar face, and then I see another familiar face.
Hmm.
Casey Golden, played with him at Wilmington. He actually got drafted by the Rockies, so he was
Oh.
already there.
Okay.
Yeah, and we had two other guys, Jared Gazelle, he was a pitcher, and Stephen Linkus, he was another outfielder. So they were already there.
Oh.
So once I saw those familiar
It
faces,
made you feel
it was
good.
like, all right,
Right.
now, it's kind of weight off your shoulders, because you got somebody that you're familiar with that
Right.
can show you around, and that was my first day. And,
Mm.
it was an eye
Okay.
opening experience. It was still kind of surreal, uh, until I got the next day and started, able to practice and
Right.
get there on the field.
Right. Right. That's my next question. I was going to ask you about getting on the field. So you come in undrafted. They already had a shortstop. I'm assuming they already had one.
Yeah,
My,
so our shortstop at the time was oh, God dog it. Oh, if we wouldn't have been on this, I wouldn't have figured. I can't. He gonna if
that's
he ever
okay.
see this, he gonna be mad.
That's all right,
Um,
man. I just want. I'm just thinking about your
what's his name?
first time. You
Ryan, Ryan. He was the first round draft pick for the Rockets, and he ended up getting hurt.
what's his
And
name again?
that's how that Ryan. Ryan, what's Ryan's name? Oh God, dog.
I can't remember his name.
No, I can't even remember. What's Ryan's
That's all right. It's all good. I mean, where's he from?
name?
What school did he go to? What school did he go to?
He was a high school kid. He was a
Oh,
high school kid. Yeah, he was a high
okay,
school kid.
okay. High school kid.
Oh boy, yeah, I forgot.
You
I
can't
can't
remember.
remember, but
You
he
can't
was the
remember his
first
name.
round pick that year anyway.
Okay, okay,
Got hurt, and that's how I ended up there.
okay.
But it was cool, man, because once I finally got in and start playing, uh, it was chill. Everybody start learning different people and interacting with the team, and it was back like I never left almost.
Right. That's good. That's what I was thinking. I mean, because you're undrafted, so back then it was a little different versus it is today. I'm thinking you go in and you're like, man, these guys already got a spot, so I'm gonna have to really, I got to turn it up. I got to turn it really up, and then you got a
Yeah.
guy that's hurt, which that's a plus for you, in general. My question to you was what was that first game like, if you can remember, going to that field, putting that uniform on, and man, I'm actually playing minor league baseball for the Colorado Rockies. How was that?
It it wasn't to me. I didn't really think much about that once I got on the field.
Okay,
Now I'm just trying to like work. I'm just trying to produce. I'm just trying to see the ball, hit the ball.
right.
Be ready on the infield. You
Basic
know,
fundamentals, just
but
basic. Just
but
do baseball.
yeah, just play the game. But once you start looking around you and you see the fans, and after the game, I think that was the thing where you walking out of the dugout and you got kids waiting by the dugout. You got adults waiting by the dugout asking for autographs, and it was something
Experience
I
before.
didn't I didn't dream. I always dreamed that I want to be a professional baseball player, but I didn't think about all the small things like that.
Mm,
And that was surreal.
I got you.
To see kids actually want something from you.
Right.
Like you're their role model. Because I remember I was a kid one time. I used to look up the local guys who play sports. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's good. I mean, that's good. That's good news because you had you played several years in minor league baseball, and my question to you before I wrap it up is your last year of minor league baseball. Why was it your last year, and why you did not keep playing?
the day that I got released, I called my agent, let him know, hey man, I just got released. I said, all right, well, I'll start making some calls, try to find you, another place to play. And at the time, I think I was 25,
Okay.
and I saw guys getting released because this was during spring training. I saw guys getting released. I would see them come in the locker room with fold in their hands, which was the plane ticket, most likely. Start packing the bags, and I just I said I gave it all I had. It was a fun run. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Nothing else I could do on my end because I felt like I did everything I could in the off season. Uh, start working out the way I should. Got with a good trainer and started had a routine going in the off season. Came in the spring training and did well. Uh, and then getting released, I was like, all right, what else could I do? I said I gave it all I had.
Okay.
Time to move on with life, and I think that's kind of where I was at the time, just ready to move on with life, and
I like that, man.
that's it.
I mean, that's a
Hang up the
man.
cleats.
But I tell you what, a lot of people are not like you because
Yeah, yeah,
brothers can't handle that. I mean, I've interviewed
yeah. I
guys.
didn't say I handled it well. I didn't say I handled it well, but I made that decision.
I say I
You know.
like that.
Yeah,
Let me put myself in place. He didn't say that. I'm just
yeah,
paraphrasing. I'm like, okay, because I'm
yeah,
like, for me, I couldn't handle it. I didn't handle it very well
yeah.
at all, at
There's still
all.
guys that I played with, and they're still out there playing, some kind of baseball.
Yeah,
And me, I was just like, all right, I gotta. My mindset was, all right, I gotta catch up on life. Like, I
Right.
felt like I missed out on a lot of life experiences
Right.
playing baseball. Not that I say I regret it,
Right. Right.
but because that was my passion, I had to make sacrifices. But I want to catch up. I want to start going out, making some money, buying a house,
Right.
buying a car,
Right. Right.
stuff like that,
Right.
starting a
And get
family.
married, start a family.
Yeah, yeah. I
You
was
know.
ready for that. So
Yeah, I understand. I mean, but you're a very humble man because I'm gonna be honest. It was hard for me.
yeah, yeah,
It was
yeah.
very hard. I didn't
It's
watch
hard.
baseball for over 13 years. I was done. I didn't want to watch it. I didn't want to talk about it. Don't bring it next to me.
Yeah,
Don't ask any questions. I don't want to
yeah.
talk about it because I left bitter. I left bitter,
Right.
and I stopped playing when I was 25. I was the same way. I like I'm done. And like I
Yeah.
don't want to stop playing, but I had an injury, hurt my rotator cuff, my throwing arm. So
Okay.
it was never the same. Never the same.
Right.
I just like okay. I'm still trying to do it, but you gotta like you said, face reality and say, listen, the body's like no, that arm is
Right.
you're not 15, you're 25 and your arm is and
Right.
you're trying to play at the next level. Not saying you couldn't, but there's so many other guys that are more advanced at your
Mm,
age and younger than you. So which
right.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
go
'Cause I
ahead and
think.
go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say. I think the big wake up call for me that day when I got released was when I was sitting down talking uh, to the managers and stuff, and the people who make the decisions. It was kind of just like, we got new guys coming in, young guys, new guys getting ready for the draft, got to make room. And they told me, they said, we just don't have no more room for you. So I'm thinking, like, all right, I'm 25. You got, these Latin guys coming over at 18, young, got long time to develop.
Right.
I was like, well, I done all I could do. I gave it all I had. I don't have any regrets, so time to move on.
Right, man. That's very humbling experience, brother. You're gonna be. I can guarantee you, God's gonna bless you whatever you do because of your spirit. You got a very good spirit and a very good
I
heart,
appreciate
and
it.
I know that. I mean, I've been around the block a little bit. I don't know a whole lot, but there's a
Oh,
little
yeah.
bit I do know. I mean, because
Oh, yeah.
I was the opposite of you. I was the opposite of you.
oh,
So I know hard head, as my grandmother used to tell me all the time, a hard head make a soft butt. So
yeah.
just do it the right way
Oh,
the
yeah.
first
Sometimes we
time.
had to learn the hard way.
Yeah, you gotta learn the
That's
hard
right.
way. But so, I've got a few
Yeah.
more questions. I'm gonna close out. Now, this is a question for you. This some fun questions.
All right.
All right, you got 4 or 5 players. Your Mount Everest mountain. Who is your Mount Everest baseball players? They can be dead or alive. Ready? Go.
Mount Everest of baseball.
Yeah, they can. It doesn't
How
matter
many is
who it
that?
is.
What, five? Is it what,
It's
five
five.
people?
It's five. Go ahead.
Five. All right, five.
Go ahead.
All right, so we got Derek Jeter,
Derek
Derek
Jeter.
Jeter, Derek Jeter, Derek Jeter on all five of them.
Derek
and,
Jeter.
and and the reason I say that because
Oh, Derek Jeter.
when I played baseball since I was since t-ball, and I
Okay.
played all three sports. I played football and basketball,
Okay.
and Derek Jeter. I didn't watch a whole lot of baseball growing up as a kid.
Okay.
But Derek Jeter was the one guy who like stood out to me because when I was playing Little League, I used to wear these ugly lawnmower shades playing infield, and I
Okay.
thought I had swag. Right?
Okay.
And somebody would say, "Hey, that's Derek Jeter out there," And that was the nickname they gave me in the neighborhood. Used to call me Jeter,
Okay.
and ever since they come, I was like, "Who is that? Who is Derek Jeter?" So I went and looked him up, and I started watching his videos and stuff like that, and that was my favorite player of all time.
Oh man.
Um,
Okay.
and,
Okay.
and, and like I said, I didn't watch a whole lot of baseball, so like my baseball history is lacking, compared to some people.
I
But
got you.
I think that was that somebody giving me that name, as a kid, and learning who that guy was, who Derek Jeter was, and I think that was kind of like why I wanted to play baseball even more,
Right. Right.
because I
Right.
wanted to be like Derek Jeter as a child.
I
And then
got you.
it was a local guy who ended up making it to the big leagues from Darlington as well. That I said, okay, but if he can make it, and I can make it from a small town. So
Right. Man,
yeah,
that's.
I don't. I would say I have a Mount Rushmore, but that's who kind of
I got you. I
got
like
me
that.
playing
Mount Rushmore.
baseball.
I get it. Derek Jeter. Hey,
Yeah,
times
Derek
five.
Jeter. That's right. Times five.
Times
That's
five.
right.
I like that.
That's right.
That's cool, man. I got a few more questions. I'm gonna close it out in a minute, but I'm gonna give you a couple more questions. And all right, this is the question that I ask everyone. All these questions are the same question for the most part in the
All right.
ending. But this is another question for you. So this is the question. It's called the play of the day. Tell us, the audience, about a play of the day that you've experienced yourself that you wish you can tell everybody they've never seen it, like a flashback. If you can recall back in your playing days, it can be pro or college or whatever. A play of the
Hmm.
day that you experienced yourself. Tell us about it.
So my favorite play was a ball in the six hole,
Okay.
and you gotta go back towards the outfield to kind of dive and get it. It's a hard hit ball in the six hole. You dive and catch it. You
Okay.
get up and you spin and you throw it, throw the guy out. That was the last play I ever made playing baseball, and it was on the backfield uh, in spring training, and
Okay.
that was the last game I ever played. And that was the last play I ever made
Wait a minute. Whoa, 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 whoa. In spring training with the Colorado
in
Rockies.
spring training. Yep, yep, yep.
So you
I think I
went.
think I might have that video on my Instagram page. I had
So,
a it's probably back, but I had to pull it up. But it was on the backfield.
so you went
So
back
the-
towards center. I mean left.
right. So it's back toward left. So I was playing no playing kind of deep on the
You
infield
know who hit it?
in between the. No, I don't remember who it was.
Okay.
I don't remember who was playing, but the ball was hit hard. Dove kind of like behind me, caught it, spin,
He
threw the
spent.
guy out,
Okay.
and that was a that's the play I always like making. And that just so happened to be the last play I ever made
Oh
playing
man,
baseball.
that's sweet.
So that's what
That
made that one special.
that's you need to get you a T-shirt going. Make you a
Yeah,
T-shirt
yeah,
like that. I
yeah.
like that. I
That was
like that. Your favorite play and was your last play.
yeah,
Man,
yeah. That's the last
that's
play I ever
that's like
made.
a baseball revelation.
Yeah.
That's what-
But it was on the backfield, so it didn't really count for nothing, you know.
oh,
But
okay. I got you.
yeah. So
I got
it
you. I got you. I was like,
wasn't really. Yeah.
okay. So where the one last one? With that being said, where did the Rockies play their Colorado? Where's the spring training at? It's in Arizona.
It's in Scottsdale, yeah, Scottsdale,
Okay. Okay.
Arizona.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
So you got your big field that the big leagues play spring training on,
Right. And you got the
and then
little
you got your
small field.
practice fields at the spring training complex, right?
Yeah.
So we had our four fields. Big leaguers, I think they had two practice fields, and then they had the big field.
Okay.
But
Okay.
it was on
Yeah.
one of the little back fields back there, and we had some pro guys come back there and get some work in. Like
Right.
Arenado would come back there get work in. Cargo came back got some work in. Parr he came back before he retired and got some work in. So
Okay.
you got to see big leaguers and see how they work and stuff.
Cool.
So
That's cool.
it's cool.
Are you still a Rockies fan?
I watch them. See,
Okay.
I never was a Rockies fan growing up. I was always like a Jeter fan.
Right.
So
Right.
like
I know
when
that's what I'm
Jeter
saying.
whatever they left the Yankees, I'd have been a Jeter whoever
I
he played with.
know
But
that's what I was like. Let me see a
yeah,
Rockies fan.
I keep up with the guys that I played with
Okay.
in college and pro ball.
Okay.
So I kind of I'm a fan of them
I
because they
got
still
you.
out there doing it,
I got you.
and I like watching them succeed.
All right, I got you. I got one more question. We'll close out. I appreciate you saying that. I mean, one last question, and this is the last question, and then we're gonna close it out. This is called the post game question. I do this to every player, every party that's coming on the podcast. Post game question. This is the question: if there was one person, dead or alive, who would you want to talk to or ask a question pertaining to baseball? He could be dead or alive.
Pertaining to
You've never
baseball.
talked to
Okay,
him.
all right.
Anybody, someone you just want to sit down and talk, and just if you can go back and just kind of talk to, hey, I want to know that, and why would you pick this person?
Uh,
Is it Jeter?
I, yeah. No, it wouldn't be Jeter. It'd be like Tony Gwynn.
Okay, why Tony Gwynn?
Like Gwynn, um, to understand his concept of hitting. Because if I could understand his concept of hitting, I probably would be in the big leagues right now.
Right.
If I could understand his concept of hitting, because he was such a great hitter, and just if I could just have one hitting session with him and, and learn his process, his thought process on hitting, I
Right.
think that'd be very
Mm.
valuable. Very
Well,
valuable.
I think that you gave um one of the best answers. One of the best answers ever.
Yeah, I don't know. That's just me. That's just me.
Yeah, man. Because I mean, I'm a Tony Gwynn guy as well, and I'm a Barry Bonds guy. Those two guys are my favorite.
Right.
Those two that. Those are the two guys I'm gonna look for hitting. Those are the guys I'm gonna watch because they had an art to hitting. I mean, yeah,
Mm.
they were blessed and gifted, but I also realized they studied the game. They were a student of the game, and if I had a question, if they asked me that question, they'll probably be on my Mount Mount Everest, but I probably would have said somebody different. But you get great answers, man. I mean,
Yeah,
because a lot of people don't think about Tony Gwynn, and he
yeah.
was
Yeah. 'Cause I used to remember him coming like it would be like a little small, and I was younger too, but it was like a small segment. I can't remember if it was on like a ad or was it like a YouTube, whatever it was. But I just remember Tony Gwynn and seeing. Matter of fact, it was on TV. It was like on a cable channel, like a direct TV thing you can pull up. But anyways, I just remember seeing him, and then once I realized, who he was and what he accomplished, I'm like, man,
right.
this guy was a real deal.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Can't hit him.
yeah. He's
But
legit. He's legit.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, Tony
not
Gwynn is legit. I know he's rest in peace, and I just wanted to do that. And if you have any closing remarks to say, tell to the listeners, the people just before I close it out, anything encouraging you want to say to the listeners. And as I said before, this is episode 43. The very own Kennard McDowell Jr. played for the Colorado Rockies a very short period of time, but he played minor league ball also as an undrafted free agent and also played JUCO ball as well with Spartanburg Methodist, and he played with North Carolina Wilmington and had a very successful career. I just want to say that, give you a shout. I appreciate your time, but I'm gonna let you go ahead and close out some remarks before I close it out.
Oh yeah, man. Thank you, Seville. And I appreciate you for having me on. You're doing a wonderful thing. Information, accurate information on the
Accurate.
internet.
I
It,
like that.
this day and age, man, there's so much information out there. But you're doing a wonderful thing by getting these guys on and
Thanks,
having
man.
them share their stories. And you have young kids watching or your parents watching who has young
That's right.
kids playing the game.
Right.
If you can learn something from it, pick it up because we all went through it, experienced it, experienced playing at, pro ball, college ball. And
Right.
if we can give you some answers, that's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
Learn from the guys who done it. Uh, don't let this knowledge go to waste.
Yeah.
Uh, young kids, keep grinding, work hard. It ain't gonna always be easy.
Yeah.
If it's something you love to do, you'll fight for it.
uh,
And you gotta truly love the game.
mm,
If you want to play this game for a long time, you gotta truly love it. You gotta
man,
study it.
man.
Uh, Fall in love with the process.
Ooh.
Not just the results, not just the games. Fall in love with practicing. Get you
Mm.
some buddies who love the game as well. Y'all got go work.
That's
You
right.
know, put in work, man.
Man, that's good
Video
stuff.
games is cool, but if you love
Yeah. Right.
baseball, you
Right.
want to
Right.
play at the high level, you
Right.
gotta go out there and practice it.
Man, that's good
That's
stuff,
all I
man.
got, man.
Man, that's good, man. And the first thing you said out of your mouth, and I hope that the listeners understand this is very powerful. You said this. You said accurate information because there's a lot of information. Accurate.
Oh yeah,
And you
a
said
lot.
also the ones that had played it and did it
Yeah,
at the level, high level, college and pro ball. That's what I call it. Because people says,
oh
well,
yeah,
he said good information. I said, no, listen. That's why
accurate,
accurate information,
accurate.
accurate. That's why this has been a great, this has been a peaceful, calm, relaxing podcast today. I mean, I like it. It's some of them cool podcasts. Like, man, I want to hear
Yeah,
this
man.
guy. I like his story, and I'm closing it out. Thank you for coming on as again, and for all the guys and girls that are listening to the show, parents, and all the ones that listen every week. I want to say thank you, which I always ask this closing remark. The question is, where are you being led? Where are you being led today? Are you being led to go north, south, east, or west? Because we're going in some kind of direction. You know that, Kennard. We're going somewhere. The question
Yeah,
is, where are we going? And all that information that Kennard has given us today, from small beginnings from South Carolina, from high school, coming from a small school, small beginnings, also being very humble, also going from Spartanburg Methodist, playing there, going to Junior College World Series. Then from there, went to North Carolina Wilmington, kicked butt and took names, did his thing. And my question again is, where are you being led? The L stands for listen. If you listen to anything that he said today, it was very powerful. The L stands for listen. Listen. Also, when you listen, that's where faith comes in. Faith comes by hearing. and hearing the word of God every day. Faith comes by hearing. And then, with that being said, if you're listening, you should be able to execute everything that Kennard said today. LE, which leads us to the next letter, and that letter is D. LED. Where are you being led? The D stands for dominate. If you listen to what Kennard said, execute what he said. Listen, execute, and God will give you the grace to dominate in every field in your life. As he said before, don't give up. If you believe in it, stay with the process. Embrace the process, enjoy the
That's right.
process, and you will dominate. This is Coach Laurie, very own Savell Laurie with Kennard McDowell Jr. Episode 43. Thank you, brother. It's been a bless and prosper. Blake, stay blessed
Yes, sir. You
and
too.
never stress. Thanks, brother.
All right, have a good one.
You too. Thanks.